Hello, YouTube. You're listening to K Barnes podcast, and Into the Artist. We have here fellow Canadian Montrealer artist Jay DaVille, who is formerly known as, I believe, Jay who composes hip hop music. So, James, tell us a bit about you. So your fans have an idea of who you are.
Yeah, my name is Jay DaVille. My real name is James Johnson. I'm from the borough of LaSalle in Montreal. I've been making music since I was about 12 years old. Only started putting tracks together in 2008 when I first got my laptop. But I've been writing since I was a kid, and now I'm doing music with the people I was looking up to as a kid. A lot of my brother's friends, a lot of older people from the neighborhood. So we teamed up, and we have a team right now. It's called Top Notch Tracks TNT. We're hooked up with another group out there in Omaha, Nebraska, Block Movement. They were just nominated for the Underground Music Awards, Best Group of the Year. We literally actually just got back from New York City on Monday night. We were down there for the weekend just partying and this and that, and, good times. But, me personally, I'm all about underground music. I'm all about music with a message. I'm all about, the real hip-hop, the real essence of hip-hop, not the commercialized, demonized version that you see on MTV nowadays, but the real classic version of hip-hop that you seen, back in, the early 90s,
Well said. Already I like the purpose behind the music of what you just said. So basically, to reiterate, basically your brother's friends inspired you to make music? Can you talk a bit about that?
Well,
How came to that?
basically it goes back to 2003 when these dudes from the Heights, all my brother's friends, they used to come around and do little freestyles. And I was young, I was 12, but they always encouraged me to come and join the group, I'll come do a little verse, so I would come, I'd do my little verse and this and that, but obviously you're 12, 13 years old, you're rapping with a bunch of 19-year-old dudes, and, you can't really step up to their level at that point, but, it was all about the fun, and we used to put, little tracks together using this little microphone that I borrowed off my cousin back in the day on, a 1994 desktop computer with Windows 98 running on it. We used to have to record 60 seconds at a time to make little ghetto little tracks, and not even mastering the tracks properly with any software. What we did was we just took this little microphone, put it next to the stereos, and just started freestyling over it. So I mean, it goes back, you know what I mean? And that was back when they used to call me Little J, or the young prodigy of DeVille, and that's basically where my name comes from now. Jay DaVille is because people started calling me the young prodigy of DeVille, and for those of you that don't know, DeVille is the slang version of LaSalle. There's a lot of different names that we give different boroughs in LaSalle. For example, in Montreal. For example, LaSalle is Texas, DeVille. Anyways, so I named myself in 2010 Jay DaVille because I felt that name really expressed who I am. It's not a gimmick. It's not you know what I mean? Me trying to be something I'm not at all. This is me, Jay from DeVille, Jay from LaSalle. And that's just my name, Jay DeVille. I carry DeVille on my back, and that's the way it's going to be. I got to hold LaSalle down. But, that's basically it, man,
All right, well said. So you're all about, showing everyone, hey, everybody, this is where I'm from, and this is what I have to offer.
Exactly. This is me, and this is my product,
Yeah, that's... Thank you. So, I'm just wondering, what kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to all kinds. I'm from a neighborhood in LaSalle. We call it the Bronx. Where it's mostly white Irish kids, low income white families, basically. So I mean, we listen to a lot of rock. A lot of people around here, they're Zeppelin fans and this and that. And my parents were both from the 60s, 70s, so I grew up listening to a lot of rock and roll, and I'm into that. But I'm a hip hop baby, man. Some of my favorite hip hop artists, I guess they would include Masta Ace, definitely Gangstar, definitely right now I've been listening to a lot of Aesop Rock. He's a very enigmatic and poetic MC. I'm pretty sure he's from Hell's Kitchen in New York. Yeah, man. I listen to a lot of different stuff, though. Seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Mm. I was just gonna name a few. As far as rock and roll goes, I was into punk rock for a long time, so I was listening to a lot of No Effects and Bad Religion, Flogging Molly. You know, those were like the bands I would listen to on a regular basis, along with like other more underground punk like artists like Leftover Crack and Morning Glory. But right now, what I'm all about, you know, as far as like what I listen to on a regular basis, you know, a lot of the classic hip hop stuff, but also a lot of like weird stuff. You know, like I said, Aesop Rock, and I listen to a lot of MF Doom and Madlib, Quasimodo. Just a lot of like what they call trip hop, basically. It's your average hip hop with like, you know, the message in it and everything, but it's funky, it's trippy, like, you know, it gives you something different, something that people in hip hop, they take themselves way too seriously. And when I listen to artists like that kind of just, they make a mockery out of, you know what I mean, the stuff that they're saying, I appreciate that, you know what I mean? They're not taking themselves all seriously, caught up in their ego. They're more just doing it for the love of the art form, you know?
And that should be a well, in my opinion, that should be a motivation to make music, for the fact that it's fun, rather than some people, their only goal with music is to make money off of it. When,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, personally, I don't think there's nothing wrong with making like, a living off of your music, but I mean, when you sell out your talent to somebody else and let them dictate what you can and can't say on a record, I think that's where you need to draw the line.
Yeah.
I think
Definitely.
that, like, people like Immortal Technique, for example, that's one of my biggest influences. He pushed himself like extremely independently. He made his own record label, Viper Records, and he went out and he pushed his music. He was on his grind like every single day. And when you look at like his success as an independent underground hip hop artist and where he is now, he owns a farm in South America that produces food and gives to the locals instead of selling out to foreign corporations. He also owns co-owns an orphanage in Afghanistan. And when I look at that, I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. But what I don't want to be is like these people that come with a talent and they show like, this is my product, this is my talent, this is who I am. And once they're introduced to the industry, okay, well, we're going to take this and we're going to turn it into this, and we're going to make a whole bunch of money off you. You're going to get a cut off of it, and you're going to get rich and famous. But fortune and fame always comes with a price. Usually it's, you know what I mean, however you want to look at it, figuratively or literally, it's your soul, man. They take away who you are and replace it with this image. Yeah. And that's exactly what I think we need to avoid.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because it's funny how you mentioned that mainstream artists, they're all commercialized, and you can just tell like they're basically a package for the masses, and it's just ridiculous. Anyway, that was well said. I did not know about that, about Immortal Technique. Wow. Thank you for giving us some insight on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now going to some other questions, music related. Do you play any instruments?
Right. It's been a while since I've played any instruments. I used to mess around with keyboard a lot when I was a kid. And somehow or another, I lost my passion for that. But in high school, I played the flute, not the recorder, but the actual flute. Mm-hmm. And I was actually, not to toot my own flute, haha. You know what I mean? Like, I was actually good at it for a little while. But then, I don't know, I got out of music class in grade 10. But I mean, for 3 years, I was like a flautist. I was like the lead flautist in class, Oh. But I mean, as of now, I haven't really been playing any instruments myself. I'm sticking more to writing. I've always been a writer. I've always been someone to come up with ideas and stories and things like that,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great.
I have a way with words.
That's great. Just follow your passion and see what comes out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. A more technical question now. What equipment do you use when writing a track, or when you record a song, or what do you do? What kind of equipment do you use?
Well, when I write, I don't really use any equipment. What I do is like, I get the file or whatever from one of my producers, and and they'll be like, okay, well, do you like this beat? You know, they'll send me the minute and a half sample with just the first hook, the first verse and the hook. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, you know, so they'll make the full beat out of it and send it to me. I'll write it here in my room because usually I have to be in my own little zone, you know what I mean? Just like here with a coffee and a joint, and I just write whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go to record, usually I go to my dude Skybeatz house. He's one of my main producers, also my best friend's older brother. So we're like family, all of us, you know. So this guy, he's got like this whole setup, you know what I mean? It's kind of basic. It's in his own apartment where